Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Real Watcher stream. My name is Garrett,
And I'm Adrian.
and as always, we're coming to you with some movie news, reviews, and so much more. Hope you're all having a wonderful day so far. I already have a comment right off the bat. Our good friend Kevin, our co-host for Movie Club here on the channel, says, hello, sir. Hope you're having a great night so far. But before we dive into anything today, Adrian, how have you been over the last week?
Good, just working, living life. Did a double feature. I guess we'll talk about it later. Watched both Paddington movies this weekend. With
Hell yeah. All right.
So that was really fun. Yeah, it was great to rewatch those. It's funny, like you kind of like it had just been long enough where I didn't remember every single plot point. So it was really fun to watch again, and like definitely Cass and I were like laughing at parts where we were like, "Oh yeah, that's insane that's happening." So it was a really good time.
Didn't you say you were watching it with friends, or was it just the two of you?
It was with friends, with Joan and now they came over as well.
Awesome. Speaking of Danelle, says happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday indeed. It's Real Watcher Day, baby. Well, awesome. Glad you guys had a great time. It's kind of one of those things where like you kind of like people are like, yeah, what do you want to drink? And you're like, no. You have to be completely sober to understand the complexities of this Paddington movie.
That's what happened. That's literally what happened. Everyone was like, let's do a drinking game. And I was like, no. I was like, everyone needs to be focused on Paddington.
I need 100% of your attention. I need you sober to watch Paddington.
I didn't get 100% attention, but I did get sober viewing, which was a big win for me.
Did you home make marmalade sandwiches?
No, but we should have. I feel like that would have kind of given, like, that's such a key part. I felt like it had to be explored through the film. I will say something really interesting, since this is a movie podcast. The second movie, I had to rent through the like Xbox and HDR through their like service, whatever they use, and the coloring was way overblown. I had like every other thing I watch on my TV, the colors are great. I had to like adjust my color settings because it was so overblown. So I don't know if that was like some weird download thing, but something to note.
That's really odd. Yeah, I mean, it has to be something with like the Microsoft Movie service or something.
Yeah.
But
how are you doing?
Pretty good. I'll be honest. Since the last time we streamed, I didn't really work a whole lot because it was kind of really my only vacation that I've ever taken. So between the bachelor party and all the stuff with Halloween Horror Nights and Not Scary Farm and some time off, it was like over a week off. So it felt
congrats, yeah,
really good. Yeah, came back in wonderfully rested. Our good friend Nadia from Horror and More, the recent winner of Huck's Pop Culture Channel Trivia for Horror. Congratulations again, Nadia. Hi, hello, doing homework as I watch. Hashtag Thug Life. That's the Thug Life indeed. Good luck with your homework. Make sure you do it all. Don't do what I did in high school and skip a lot of it.
Or do, you know, sometimes it all evens out in the end. I didn't do much.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and jump right into today's topics for the... And I removed myself instead of highlighting myself. That hasn't happened in a while. First topic for today is that the SAG-AFTRA talks between the SAG Guild and the AMPTP have resumed today. We still haven't heard whether or not it was a productive meeting. And we haven't heard if they're meeting again tomorrow or another day. I kept checking all throughout the day to see if there was any updates whatsoever, and unfortunately not. But at least they're resuming talks, and hopefully, like we keep saying, this will end soon, because it's been over 100 days already for the SAG Guild.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's feeling like a high school relationship of two friends where they're like, they're talking, they're not talking, they're talking, it's on, it's off. Yep. I mean, I feel like we're getting such like piecemeal stuff. Like, I think it's just such a long-term process that the day-to-day of like they're talking and on, I think it's always a work in progress. Like, I think they're constantly working towards something. Just because they're not talking today or this week doesn't mean that like no one's working on it. So hopefully a resolution comes soon.
Yeah, hopefully, because it's starting to delay some stuff, as we'll talk about here in a moment.
Yeah, speaking of A Quiet Place Day One, the triquel to the Quiet Place trilogy is hit with a 3-month delay, kind of right out of the gate. So that's initially a delay. I'd imagine it's still on any longer. We'll see that push further and further and further back.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, it is being delayed by both the WGA and SAG strikes. Luckily, the WGA strike is over. But another film being hit with a delay, this one a big one, is Mission Impossible 8, that has just been hit with a 1-year delay, now coming out in 2025. And it will no longer be titled Dead Reckoning Part 2, which is going to be really odd for anyone who bought the Blu-ray or anything for Dead Reckoning and it says Part 1 on there.
I think it'll be a collector's item for sure eventually for like the set. But yeah, I think this kind of does and doesn't make sense. I think moving away from the parts, I love. I think that's great. Like, we don't need that. But I feel like you ended the first one on a real big Part 1 cliffhanger. So I feel like you kind of boxed yourself in on that. And I'm not sure how they're going to tackle that.
Yeah, it's going to be similar to Across the Spider-Verse, because that was supposed to come out in March of next year, apparently. And now that's going to be delayed, I'm sure. And that left off on a pretty big cliffhanger, too. So
a year. Yeah, brutal. Moving right along, James Bond reboot development hasn't even begun. Lots of rumors circulating on who the next James Bond would be after Daniel Craig. Unfortunately, with production not even being started, it's kind of tough to have any of that solidified. But so far, no news.
Yeah, I mean, there's been talk about how the actor should be younger, but not too young. There's been talks about a lot of rumor talk about who should be in the seat. But the fact is, they haven't even started writing the darn thing. They haven't got a director. They haven't got anyone attached to it yet. So hands off for the time being, which is, it's all right. You can take a little bit. You don't have to keep pumping them out. Make them good.
I think this is a lifelong franchise. There's no like rush on for anyone. It just come out when it comes out.
And technology and stuff, it all like really, it improves so fast now. Like, just wait until it's at a point where you can tell a really good story. I think that's all we're all looking for. Next up, we all know that Guillermo del Toro's got his Frankenstein movie coming out, but their roles for Oscar Isaac, Andrew Garfield, and Mia Goth have been revealed. Oscar Isaac will be playing the monster, so playing Frankenstein's monster. Andrew Garfield will be playing the Doctor, who is not Dr. Frankenstein, but someone trying to find the monster of Dr. Frankenstein. And Mia Goth will be playing the Bride. So
very
the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah, very
well. So awesome casting. Obviously, we did talk either last week or the week before that Christoph Waltz has been added to the cast as well. I'm sure Ron Perlman's in there somewhere because it's a Guillermo del Toro movie.
Yeah.
But this is exciting news. I'm really excited for another Del Toro movie. And if it's not being made in the United States, or if it's not a AMPTP production, hopefully it can move forward with filming.
Yeah. And sliding right into news that we kind of mentioned at the top of the show, Paddington in Peru will hit theaters on January 17th, 2025. A bit longer than I was hoping to wait for it, but I mean, just such a CGI heavy movie and so many moving pieces. I kind of expected it to be that kind of a release date, but nonetheless, so excited for that trilogy.
It's one of the films. Take the time, make it as good as the last two were, or maybe at close to as good as the last two were. And I think you're going to have a hit on your hands anyway.
Paddington Returns Home. You got to do that right. You know, I mean, that's such a big moment.
Got to nail it. Got to nail it.
To darkest Peru.
Which it was never that dark when they had the Peru scenes. It was like,
it was black and white.
Alfred Hitchcock like. Yeah. Speaking of darker, The Exorcist Believer is available to rent or buy now. So if you don't want to go down to the theater to see what many people have called a disappointment, you can go ahead and rent it or buy it on your favorite streaming service that you can rent or buy on. It is not available on any specific platform yet. It'll probably be on Peacock within the next month.
Fun fact, Cassidy is there now watching in theaters The Exorcist Believer with some of her coworkers.
Wow.
I'm so excited to hear what she thinks of it.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Because we'll have to, I don't know if she probably won't be done by the time the stream's going on. So we'll hear next week.
Stay tuned.
But yeah.
Sliding right into the next topic. Sticking with horror, though, The Nun 2 hits HBO Max, or just Max, on October 27th. Pretty quick turnaround for this one. I feel like it had a super short run, wasn't received super popularly, and it's kind of straight to streaming.
I feel like a lot of people enjoyed it more than the first one, but it still wasn't like the best received horror movie of the year. But I think it's just in time for Halloween. Like, I haven't seen it yet, and I don't think you have either. So I think it'll be a great time to check it out. It'll give us something to do on Halloween when we're not streaming, because that's a week from Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think it came out, what, 2 months ago? Maybe a month ago? So, it's a pretty quick turnaround, but hey, it's good to get it on Max before Halloween. Yeah. If only they'll just get Barbie on Max already, it'd be great. Speaking of horror, the Spawn reboot that is being made is said to be the Blumhouse version of a superhero movie. Blumhouse is the one that is producing this upcoming reboot. They're the producer of films like Megan and the Halloween trilogy. Also, latest film will be Five Nights at Freddy's. So, interested to see what a Blumhouse version of a superhero movie means. I'm just excited to get anything Spawn again. Spawn's a great character.
Yeah, I mean, classic film and character. So the fact it's getting a reboot, I just don't know if it holds up. I don't know if it's an anti-hero for our generation. I'm interested to see how the actual story, what they decide to go with, I guess, because I just don't know if it applies to today in a meaningful way.
Sure, and I think the rumors were still stating that Jamie Foxx was attached to play the main character, but I don't know if that's still true or not. Yeah. Excited for that.
Sliding right to the next one. Deadpool 3 will be delayed, confirmed, unable to make its May release date due to just numerous reasons. Production shut down a few months ago, kind of right when all the strikes started, which was kind of a bummer because you could tell that the marketing campaign was about to kick off in full swing. Like all those releases and photos were coming out, like they were building the buzz, and then just got chopped off at the knees. So bummer, but expected.
Yep, it is rumored, and no full announcement yet, but the rumor is that the next Captain America film will take its place, that release date, because that was finished filming before the actors' strike happened. So hopefully that's the case, and we can get something to take that spot. And hopefully, again, we can get the end of this strike and get Deadpool filming again, because those photos were great.
They were, and I think what's a big bummer about what we're seeing with these delays and just like what you mentioned, shuffling films around, is those films have all been designed and filmed and shot in a way to be released in a certain order to tell a particular story. And while it's nice that you have the ability to shuffle films around because you've already recorded them and you can fill that slot for money reasons, it does affect the overall story, right? They end up introducing characters earlier or like adding an extra scene just to make sure that it ties in, and you end up the kind of impacting the integrity of the overall arc, which I don't think is helping Marvel at all right now. I think they need all the help they can get, and I don't know if this is a good thing or not.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel's been in a pretty low place for a little while now. They haven't really had the best year so far. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was kind of a bright light in the darkness, but I mean, we'll see. We still have the Marvels coming out, which hopefully will have some promise to it, but
fingers crossed.
We'll see. Next up, the BioShock movie has officially resumed development at Netflix after the writer's strike, and both the writer and Netflix are said to be very, very enthusiastic about this film moving forward, and getting some positive updates about its development, which we honestly, we've been looking for a BioShock movie for who knows how long.
They don't even have to change anything. Just do the exact storyline.
Like, it's all they have to do.
It's there, yeah.
It's already a great storyline that you just have to nail the visuals. And I think with the money that Netflix can have now to throw around at projects like this, I think it could be a really good looking film. We'll see if it ends up being a good film.
I agree that it has the potential, but I also feel like especially with how much probably sets are needed for this type of film, I do get nervous that they're just going to use the volume and that it'll all have that kind of Netflix. Yeah, you could tell there's money behind it, but it all looks like Netflix. Like, I'm just nervous that it will just have that kind of filter on it.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Either way, you're going to have visual effects behind the windows anyway. They're not going to actually put a whole lot of water there unless there's a big action sequence. I don't know. But, I mean, hey.
Speaking of big action sequences, Fast and Furious director Sung Kang to direct a live-action Initial D film based off the popular racing anime. This is, of course, who played Han in all of the Fast and Furious movies.
I don't think that's correct. Let me double check.
Am I crazy? I thought I saw that on my news flash.
Did he direct the film? Oh, he didn't direct them. Why did the article say that? I am so sorry. I guess that's going to be his first film. Will be an Initial D one. So he was in. You were correct. He's in Fast and Furious.
Wow,
he didn't direct it. The article.
Let's flood the chat. Let's get it going, everyone. So yeah, the Han from Fast and Furious is making a directorial debut with the live action Initial D film. Very exciting, very, very cool. Should be really, really great. There it is.
Yeah, should be interesting. I know Initial D is a fan favorite anime for a lot of people, and I think it's one of those ones that, like, it's not too fantastical, right? It's not Death Note, it's not One Piece, even though One Piece got a somewhat decent adaptation apparently. It's a little bit more grounded, so hopefully that makes it a little bit more easy to translate into a live action film. But this is interesting. Right in time for spooky season, scientists have found the scariest movie of all time.
I did watch this list as well.
Very surprising, but the science behind it makes sense. So scientists did some testing. Let me actually get the exact statistics here.
And they added a variable this time compared to previous years when they do this.
Yes. So they had there's average resting heart rate, average movie heart rate, overall difference in the BPM, also a HRV difference. I'm not sure what HRV means. And then the highest spike. So like the things that had the most, spike to the
jump scares, basically.
Basically the highest the heart rate reached.
Yeah.
And some really interesting stuff here. So number one, and not too surprising, is Sinister being called the scariest film of all time, with an average resting heartbeat of 64. So all of them had the same average resting heartbeat of 64. But it had the highest spike, one of them, at 131 was the highest that it got. Some pretty intense stuff. Number two was a movie called Host, which I have not heard of before. And surprisingly, good for me and not for anyone else that didn't like the film, Skinamarink hit number 3. So I'm not alone in saying the film is horrifying.
Well, I mean, again, using the metrics, that just means it keeps you in suspense the entire time. Like your heart rate just averages at a higher rate. Doesn't mean it's actually like scary. Like there's no jump scares or anything. It's just a scary film.
And obviously, all these scores are averaged across all the people that they did tests on. At number 4 was Insidious, and at number 5 was The Conjuring. So some pretty popular films up there. So nothing.
Hereditary is on that list as well. For those of you concerned that it's not, it is on the list. It just got bumped down by Skinamarink.
Yes, that is correct. And The Host was bumped down by Sinister.
Yeah.
Or Host was bumped down by Sinister. So some really interesting stuff. If you want to see the entire full article, I'll go ahead and post it in the comments section. Adrian, if you want to, the last story here.
Yeah. Ridley Scott has seen Fede Alvarez's Alien Romulus and loves it. I'm iffy on this. We've definitely heard before where the original director of a film loves the movie that's coming out, i.e. Indiana Jones. And while it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a bad film, it just doesn't really mean anything to me anymore. And maybe that's just my own opinion. I think that it's like, oh, cool, you're making an alien movie. Like, I don't know how much that weight that has anymore.
I feel like, especially for like myself, because I'm a huge fan of the franchise, Alien's one of my favorite franchises ever. The fact that the original film creator and director is seeing this new one and loves it is pretty huge. And that means that it's going to fit in with at least the tone and the overall vibe of the entire franchise, which I have hopes for. And for many people who maybe were getting tired of the more philosophical or spiritual leanings that the franchise was taking, maybe this is going to take more of like the original film's horror route. So
yeah, him loving it doesn't to me necessarily mean that it fits in. It could be that Alvarez has done a completely different take on the franchise and it's totally different and he just loves it.
To be fair, we are seeing a lot of these things lately where directors and actors are liking stuff from other directors or actors and it bites them in the butt. Yeah. I mean, look what happened with Tom Cruise in The Flash. I mean, come on. That movie was awful.
Yeah, you know what? That guy playing The Flash, one of the best people I know.
You know, Tom Cruise, the guy that had the mega hit last year, yeah, he liked The Flash. Cool. Tanks all my opinions about him. But that's going to be it for the news stories this week. Let's go ahead and jump into some of the comments here. We've had quite a few. Ooh, that Frankenstein movie sounds great. Really great actors and actresses. 100%. And it's a Del Toro movie, so probably going to be pretty great. Keith David better still better be the voice of Spawn. Well, we'll see. Depends on who the actor is playing him, but I would certainly hope it would be Keith David. 100%. Matt Wall says the Spawn short film back in 2012 was amazing. Is that available on YouTube? If it is, let us know because I would love to check it out. The only thing I've seen him in recently was Mortal Kombat 11, which he was fantastic in. Great character to play as. Matt Walls again says, if we get the Initial D movie, you know we have to have the song. 100%. Gotta have it. It's a meme song. Gotta have it. Nice. Initial D movie. Hell yeah. Looks like people are getting excited for this, at least with our audience. So, hey, I'm excited to see it too. See if we'll get any good. Danelle says, hot take. We have them from time to time. I wonder what you were specifically referring to here. Our friend Nadia says
that
those
comment popped up while we were talking about Initial D, so I'm not sure what the hot take was, though.
Either that or it was related to the horror one as well. Nadia says those scientists are weenies. Well, the scientists didn't watch the film. They measured people who were watching the film. So, but if you want to read the entire thing, you can check it out.
I'm saying they should have put me in. I would have skewed that whole thing downward. I would have been sleeping in those theaters just to throw off the metrics.
That would have been really funny, and also against the entire principles of science. But whatever. HRV is heart rate per minute. Awesome. Okay. I'm at Lost Production. What song? On My Wings. It's the. I think later he said it's the meme song. So like the Deja Vu. I have been in this place before. That one. Nadia says Cobweb should be on that list. It is not. There are 50 movies on that list, and it is not on there. So maybe it just wasn't one of the measured ones.
Maybe it's 51.
Could be 51. And then Kevin says Cobweb was amazing. You guys were saying that. We were texting about this earlier. Did you see Cobweb, Adrian?
No.
I've been hearing nothing but good things about it. So hopefully that's recommended on our Wheel of Fate today, and I get to check it out because I actually do want to watch it. Alrighty. Well, that's going to be it for the news for this week in the comments. Let's go ahead and jump into the trailers we saw this week. Adrian, did anything stand out to you this week? What are you looking forward to? What are you excited about?
Yeah, I caught a couple. I think some of the big ones that I'm excited about are like Napoleon, Ferrari, kind of just those giant movies that are coming out. But for actual trailers, two stood out to me. Saltburn, I think, just looks like just a cool movie. Not sure if it's funny, scary. Well, I don't know what the plot of that, but it looks like it's an old film shot today, and it just looks incredible visually. And the other one was If You Were the Last, the Anthony Mackie kind of space sci-fi film that's right up my alley. So that one looks really interesting to me. I do like him, not so much as the new Captain America. Not like against him. I just felt like the show wasn't that good. I'm hopeful for the new movie. But his Netflix films that he's done, and his short film that he did with Death, Love, and Robots, Love, Death, and Robots was pretty good.
Which one did he do?
Didn't he do the one where he's isolated in that like remote location and there's like a robot dog?
You're thinking of Michael B. Jordan.
No, that's Anthony Mackie.
Where he's like injured and there's the robot inside that if he moves or makes a lot of sound.
Is that Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah.
I only saw it once when it came out.
Yeah, it was Michael B. Jordan. But
am I thinking of Across the Wire then, or Behind the Wire, that Netflix movie that he did?
Maybe. I don't know. It doesn't sound familiar to me. Well, while you're looking that up, we had a lot
Outside the Wire is also a dystopian robot fighting movie.
Gotcha. Okay. It's easy to see where that got mixed up. Excuse me. Saltburn to me also really stood out. Really looking forward to that movie. Can't tell what the hell it is, and I love it. It's also got a great cast in it too. Really looking forward to Poor Things, one of the highest reviewed movies of the year. But If You Were the Last also stood out to me too. I think that is actually a very cute looking movie. It's not the most realistic, and I'm okay with that. The space outside does not look real, but it's great.
But I think it almost seems like a stylistic choice. Like it feels like that was all part of it.
Like that, it almost feels similar like the Barbie traveling scenes kind of aesthetic. So I think it looks great.
Plot twist, do you think it's all fake and it's an experiment? And that's why it looks fake?
Maybe. But I just want a good rom-com. It's been a while since I've really seen one. Also, Society of the Snow, I think looks really good. I think it's the Argentinian team that crashes up in the mountains. I could be wrong on that. But then there is also a short CNN documentary called Taking on Taylor Swift, which actually caught my attention because I didn't know that Shake It Off was a huge lawsuit and how she apparently stole music from other people and didn't give them credit. So,
yeah, I mean, that happens pretty much
all
every
the time.
Week now. Yeah, that's pretty.
They literally say in the trailer, if you have a hit song, you're going to get sued.
Yeah,
And it
because
was
someone
like,
just
oh,
wants
wow.
to cash in on it. Like, that's just how it goes.
Yeah, so I'm really interested to check that out because I don't know anything about it, and I'm always looking for a good documentary. So
There you go.
But yeah, that's it for the trailers that came out this week. We did get another comment in here. Matt says, I'm interested in the Napoleon movie if we could watch the 4-hour cut in theaters. I don't know if they'll release the 4-hour cut in theaters. I know they said they were going to release it on Apple. I think we talked about that like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean,
some theaters might, specialty theaters may, like Regal may do something, or Westfield or whatever, Cinemark.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, you probably, especially if you're closer to a big city, they might, LA, New York, San Francisco, those kinds of things will probably do them. I think it probably just depends on your theater.
Well, it depends on the budget of your theater. Yeah, if they can afford. I mean, that's screen time, right? That's tickets that they're giving up. So
yeah, it also depends on how popular the movie is. If the movie's not popular when it comes out, they're not going to show that 4 hours.
So to note, it may be like for opening weekend they may show that, and then they may can it right away. They may say, like, yeah, we didn't get this. So try to catch it if you see it.
But that is going to be it. And let's go ahead and get into Garrett's Movie Corner, where I get to talk about the movies that I've seen over the course of the last week that are not the Wheel of Fate ones, and tell you what I thought of them. And this week was everything was pretty mediocre to bad. So starting off, I forgot to talk about this one last week, but I did watch Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay from 2008 and gave it a 45 out of 100. I said, while derivative and stereotypical, this film still has enough moments to make me laugh that it avoids a terrible score. Also, it had a great little Slipknot reference in it, and I appreciate that. Next up after that was Ghost Rider with Nicolas Cage from 2007. Gave it a 33 out of 100. I said, aside from a fun Nick Cage performance and some fun visuals, this Paint by Numbers 2000 superhero film is incredibly dull. No one besides Cage seems to be having any kind of fun. The story is pretty uninspired, and the directing feels basic and lazy. Worst of all, it's boring. It's definitely a so bad that it's good movie, and it could be a cult classic, but for me, it's just bad and worth a skip. After that, I checked out the animated anthology, Halo Legends. It's mostly all right, but this anthology suffers from too little excellent ideas and only mediocre to good ones. Some of the shorts are great, like the Origins ones, but everything else suffers from mediocre voice acting and inconsistent animation. It doesn't hit the highs of the Animatrix or Love, Death, and Robots, but it will still please some of the hardcore Halo fans out there. So if you like the universe of Halo, you've probably already seen it, but you can check it out. I think it's on YouTube for free, and it's on Paramount and Peacock or something. Lastly, I just watched this today, and I wish I didn't. Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, the sequel to the 2007 Ghost Rider. For an hour and a half, this movie feels like it's 3 times that. It's ugly, poorly shot, and has visual effects that look cool in concept, but fail most of the time. Aside from one cool chase scene at the end and a manic, unhinged performance from Nicolas Cage, this film is abysmal from start to finish, and the choices this film made, let's just say they were mind-boggling. But if you want to see any other films that I have reviewed, almost 900 now that I've reviewed, you can go over to Letterboxd and follow me there.
Getting close to that 1,000.
Getting close, indeed. So, but yeah, not too fun a week with the recreational viewing. We'll see what happens when we get to the Wheel of Fate.
Well, enough about what you watched last week. A lot of people are interested in what is coming out this weekend. If you want to head to the theaters, there's quite a few coming out. Starting, we have Five Nights at Freddy's. A troubled security guard begins working at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. During his first night on the job, he realizes that the night shift at Freddy's won't be so easy to get through. Pretty soon, he will unveil what actually happened. Interesting. Then we have Freelance. An ex-Special Forces operator takes a job to provide security for a journalist as she interviews a dictator. But a military coup breaks out in the middle of the interview. They are forced to escape into the jungle where they must survive. Then we have Sight, coming out on Friday. All of these are. Follows the story of Dr. Ming Wang, one of the world's top laser eye surgeons. Seems very, very interesting, based on a true story. Then we have Subject, from the creator of Watch the Sunset. On his way to prison, a man gets intercepted by a secretive government agency who task him to monitor a secret experiment in exchange for commuting his sentence. This one seems really interesting, actually. I might want to check this one out, but it is going to be in limited release, so might have to travel for it. Also in limited release, we have Inspector Sun. Inspector Sun boards a seemingly normal plane for a much-needed vacation, but when an enigmatic millionaire receives a threat on his life, Sun is back on the case. Trapped in a web of lies, Sun must find the culprit before it's too late. This is an animated film with like bugs and stuff. Seems pretty cool. Seems like a Glass Onion inspired animated film. Then we also have Four Daughters coming out to limited release on Friday. Between light and darkness stands Ulfa, a Tunisian woman and the mother of 4 daughters. One day, her 2 older daughters disappear. To fill in their absence, the filmmaker Hania invites professional actresses and invents a unique cinema experience that will lift the veil on Ulfa and her daughters' life stories. An intimate journey of hope, rebellion, violence, transmission, and sisterhood that will question the very foundations of societies. This film not only seems really good, but also seems really important. So if you do have a theater that's showing this one may be worth checking out. Then we have After Death coming out on Friday to limited release. Based on real near-death experiences, After Death explores the afterlife with the guidance of New York Times bestselling authors, medical experts, scientists, and survivors that shed a light on what awaits us. Seems really interesting. There's obviously a ton of buzz always when people flatline and come back and have near-death experiences, so the fact that we're actually going to come up with a film that addresses it is really interesting. We also have Suitable Flesh. A psychiatrist becomes obsessed with one of her young clients with multiple personalities. That one seems very interesting. We have My Heavenly City, 3 interconnected stories about the ordinary lives of Taiwanese people living in New York City. This one comes out on Friday as well. And then last but not least, we have Miracle in East Texas, coming out on Sunday, a theatrical event coming to a theater hopefully near you. 2 conmen try to convince a group of widows to invest in worthless oil wells during the Great Depression. This one, it says, a tall tale inspired by an absolutely true story. So it seems really, really interesting there. But again, a limited event, only on Sunday.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to Five Nights at Freddy's just to see if it can hold true to the promise of being a good video game adaptation and if it can inject some life into the box office, which it's slated to. So you're hearing it here first. I think that this movie is going to be very successful on its first weekend.
I disagree, but I've been wrong before.
I mean, box office wise, but we'll see. That doesn't mean it's going to be good critically. I'm just saying it's going to make a lot of money. But alrighty, we had a comment that came in, Kevin saying, FNAF! It's almost here. Are you ready? Alrighty. That is going to bring us to what's coming out this week, which we already talked about. Let's talk about what came out last week. I always mess this up.
You can never get
retaining his first place spot is Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour. In second place, opening up, is Killers of the Flower Moon with $23.3 million. In third place, The Exorcist Believer with $5.7 million. In fourth place, Paw Patrol, The Mighty Movie with $4.4 million. And in fifth place, The Nightmare Before Christmas, $4.3 million for its re-release in theaters this weekend. Not surprising. It is always a very popular movie. So, yeah, it's not too surprising this weekend.
I mean, I feel like Eras Tour beating Killer Moon is crazy.
I feel like it's not that surprising after almost $100 million opening weekend.
But I mean, it was Killers of the Flower Moon is supposed to be a gigantic film, and I think it's shocking.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Were you gonna say we'll have to wait and see?
I was almost about to say we'll have to wait and see.
Catchphrase.
I'm too stuck on the catchphrase. Got to get some merch, man. But that's going to be it for the majority of our show. And if I'm right here, the music should be changing momentarily, which means it is time for the Wheel of Fate. So make sure you go ahead and get in the movies that you recommend before next week. For me to watch next week, I guess is what I should say. Only have 6 people watching today, so make sure you get in as many suggestions as you have. If I don't see Cobweb in there, Kevin or Nadia, I'm going to be upset. But we have some movies that were asked for last week, and first off, we'll go with the one I believe Joey, our friend Joey, recommended this one, which is Lords of Dogtown from 2005. We ended up giving it a 71 out of 100. Now, let's see. The music is a little loud. Let's change that real quick. Alrighty. So Lords of Dogtown getting a 71 out of 100. I say it was a good yet uneven film about the beginnings of skating. Performances can vary, but no one feels poorly cast in this film. I really find the color and cinematography of the film annoying, though, which is a product of its time. I don't feel like you could have done a skating movie any differently than they did with this, but it just, especially the color correction, looked awful. But it's a great story about the things that fame can bring, and it's just a little inconsistent in its execution. Still a great film to watch. I remember this was the movie that was included with the PlayStation Portable back in the day, and so I had seen it like over 10 years ago, but never actually, paid attention to it. So it was the first time paying attention to it. I thought it was pretty good. We're going to skip the one that's probably going to get me the most hate, and we're going to go to the last one here, which is The Haunting of Sharon Tate, which I gave a 0 out of 100. Very rare when I give zeros out of 100, but this movie is disgusting. Injecting supernatural horror into a real-life tragedy is profoundly offensive. Not only that, it's dull, boring, repetitive, and features awful performances. Did no one actually read the script before it came out? It's horrible. Like, not even first draft dialogue horrible. It's just awful. This is easily an example of the worst that the horror genre can bring out in some films. It's a complete waste of time and space. Don't watch it, and don't support the director. If he's going to take tragedy and he's going to make light of it and make it into a supernatural horror movie, that's really sick and disgusting, and we shouldn't be supporting that. He did the same thing with the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson, which you shouldn't watch that movie either. Now the one I was worrying getting to, and that is Halloween Town, the Disney Channel original film. And I gave it a 10 out of 100. Disclaimer, I know this is a TV movie and not a theatrical release. I also know that some people treasure this film since they viewed it as children. But holy hell, was this film obnoxious. The film does earn a few points for decent costumes and makeup and for having Debbie Reynolds. Debbie Reynolds is fantastic no matter what you put her in. But clearly that's where all the budget went. I'm known for not liking child actors, but this is a new low. There isn't a single likable character in the main cast aside from Debbie Reynolds, and even her talents are very clearly wasted on the project. The fact that TikTok users can make a better film than this is both frustrating and inspiring, and I gotta say that this movie was torture to get through. So, unfortunately, it's what I thought of Halloween Town.
Brutal. I gotta add one more film. There was a straggler there. We're closing that off. Yeah, Halloween Town's not that great.
I know I'm going to get roasted by people and for saying that it's, oh my god, it's so nostalgic. Yeah, watch it through today's lenses. It's not that good. Trust me.
All right, gonna go ahead and share. I've closed off submissions. I still have some trickling through, but I did cut it off. I'm going to pull this up here. Here are the ones that made it in all the way up to Air Bud. And let me go ahead and shuffle, and we will spin in the wheel. First selection is Air Bud. Congratulations.
All right.
Did you say just 2 this evening?
Yeah, I'm thinking we'll do just 2.
And the second film is... It's a mad, mad, mad world. Mad, mad, mad world.
Thanks for suggesting that one. Alrighty, and just because it's been requested so much, I'm not counting it as one of the ones for Wheel of Fate, but I will check out Cobweb this week. Guarantee I will. Alrighty. We'll go ahead and go through some of these comments. We had a lot of comments come in. Matt Wall says that Paw Patrol has made a ridiculous amount of money. It has. It's a big franchise, though. And I think that, people do count out that there do need to be films for younger audiences specifically. And when you finally have something that comes out, if it has a modicum of quality to it, it's going to make some money. So it's not. I don't think it's that surprising. Jose, our good friend, Nightmare Before Christmas is overrated. There, I said it. That's a hot take.
Hot take.
Very hot take. I know we've talked about this before, Jose, but you can have an opinion. Moving through here, let's see who actually won. Matt Walls won. It's Mad World. Awesome. And Air Bud was Kevin. So nice. Danelle said, "I'm so excited for this rating. I'm guessing you're talking about hearing some audio coming over Adrian speaking."
My audiobook just started going. My phone was sitting there.
Dang. Danelle said she's so excited for the rating of Halloween Town and laughs at how bad it was, saying she loves it. And then Joe, who watched it with me in solidarity, hey, at least you had to suffer with me. Danelle said, "Yay, Air Bud, such a classic." It's been so long since I've seen Air Bud.
My favorite thing is the TikTok that says the dad of the kid on the losing basketball team driving home after his son just lost to a dog. and just sitting there like death gripping the steering wheel, being so mad.
I love it. Kevin says one more spin. Kind of did. Checking out Cobweb, so we'll count it. Now he says big spider warning. Oh, great.
What did you think it was gonna be?
I don't know. There wasn't. Didn't have anything in the trailer that spoke spider.
It's called Cobweb.
That could just mean old. I don't know. Well,
Insane.
Thanks for the
Perceptive
pre-burn
miss from Garrett.
Thank you for the warning on that. And then Joey says, I am so sorry you had to watch Halloween Town. Hey, I was sorry I had to watch it too. And then I watched Haunting of Sharon Tate and would immediately watch Halloween Town again instead of Haunting of Sharon Tate. So it's all good. There's balance in the universe. Kevin says some spiders. Are we talking like big ones or small ones? Because if they're just small ones on screen, it's not that big of a deal. But if it's like close-ups, then I'll probably freak out. I
think a spider, at least one, has starred in every Hollywood film ever.
Oh, I'm sure indirectly.
A real, they're extras in every single.
In the uncredited cast. Nadia says, honestly, I thought you knew based off the name. Well, color me stupid for just this once. And Kevin says small on screen. Okay, that shouldn't be.
I would love it if credits started saying like, and also credit to the special thanks to the insects that were uncredited on this film. Their presence made all the difference.
Well, speaking of nothing in particular, that's going to be pretty much the end of the mainline show. But Adrian, what have you been watching and doing over the last week? Anything that stands out? Anything you need to review? What you've been doing?
Haven't really been watching anything, just the regulars like Survivor and Special Forces and The Bachelor and Paradise and Golden. But I did finish a book that was recommended to me by Joe called Piranesi by Susanna Clark. That was very, very interesting. Really cool concept. I don't want to spoil it, but you should look up the synopsis if you want to read it. I highly recommend it. It was super quick. I listened to the audiobook for it. Super short read/listen, and really, really thought-provoking and interesting. So highly recommend that. And then in Pikmin Bloom, the sister game to Pokemon Go, I did collect my second shiny out of a set of 3. So I'm almost there on the Pikmin chefs. So very exciting stuff for me.
Awesome. Yeah, for me, it was a pretty busy week, as I'm sure Nadia and Kevin in the chat have been also busy with me. Last week on Wednesday, we went to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Hollywood with fellow YouTube channel and friends of ours, fans of something. It was a great time. Not all the mazes were incredible this year, but the ones that were incredible, they were great. Then we went to Not Scary Farm the day afterward, and it was fantastic. This year they went all out. It was fantastic this year. My illusions of being cheaper and everything were completely dashed immediately, which was fantastic. And then spent the rest of the week relaxing and doing nothing.
Wonderful.
Because I could not recover. I can tell I'm getting older by the fact that it took me 2 days to recover from 2 straight days like that. My sleep schedule was all out of whack. But other than that, not doing a whole lot else, playing a couple online games with friends. Nothing really too spectacular, really. But we have some comments here. Kevin says it's on Hulu, relating to Cobweb, I'm guessing. Sounds good. That's where I will check it out. What color is Stupid, really? Is it like a mauve? I forget how you pronounce it. Or maybe seafoam?
Stupid is not seafoam green. I reject that.
I'm going to say it's the color Puce. Puce.
That's a really good question. I feel like I would love to talk to someone that associates things with color, because I feel like I would love to find out the true answer to that.
Wow. That's a really good question. I'm thinking I said Puce is a joke, but I think I might actually continue with that. Matt Walls, my dad and I have been watching Band of Brothers. It's brutal, especially the Battle of the Bulge episode. Fantastic show. But Adrian.
Yeah, amazing show. Do I have it next to me? No, but I guess I could. I actually, Joe in the chat, that thing right there. Sorry about all these blankets. They're clean. Joe, who's in the chat, we actually went to Camp Toccoa climbed the 3 miles up and 3 miles down, cleaned some graffiti off of the top of the mountain, and actually got to stay in the barracks that the regiment stayed in. So that is actually a piece of wood from the original barracks that they stayed in, with some of the challenge tokens on it. And then also my grandma's brother was in Battle of the Bulge and disappeared for like 20 years. They thought he died, and then he just showed up, and he'd been living in France with the whole family. So times were crazy back then. But yeah, totally agree. Incredible show, and really, really accurate. I know that Tom Hanks is working on another kind of series like that, more focused on the Air Force.
Yes.
There's no like news like about release dates or anything, but super excited because the Pacific was also really good.
I think it's like Kingdom of the Air or Kings of the Air or something like that is what it's called. At least working title right now, but looks like it should be pretty darn good. Kevin said 22 miles in 2 days. Yep, that sounds about right for all the walking we did. Yeah, that was a lot of walking. Matt Wall says, "Oh, that's cool." So hey, you got validation from from the internet. There you go.
I read that as, oh, that's cool.
Like defeated, like yeah, we watched it. And you're like, I watched it, but I guess you had to one up. No, I'm just kidding. It's like Memphis Belle, but in 10-part episodes.
Okay. I will say, if anyone is interested in the movie Midway, I did go see that with my 2-war grandpa, and he said it was the most inaccurate film of all time. So don't go see Midway. He hated it.
Sounds good. I guess I won't watch it with my war veteran grandparents. But that's about it. If anyone has any comments, questions, concerns, criticisms, you can go ahead and get them in right now. Before we do any kind of housekeeping, I don't know if any of you can see right below where the stream is, we're at 90 subscribers on YouTube already. We've jumped from like 70, 75 in like the last 2 weeks, which is huge. Hopefully some of you new subscribers are with us today. If you are, you should say hi. But we're 10 subscribers away from doing the Glizzy competition. 10 subscribers away. So make sure that you're telling everyone you know, come and subscribe. So that way we can shove hot dogs in our faces. And
once we get 5 away, I'll make a cool graphic for it, so it'll have its own special thumbnail.
Hey, that when you got an Adrian promise like that, you know it's going to be good worth keeping.
It's mostly just going to be the still frames of Garrett I have about to eat a glizzy. And I'm just going to put that all over.
just my dumb face like But if Adrian, if anyone doesn't know where to follow us yet online, we do have a couple of new subscribers. Where can they find us?
Yeah, Real Watchers, pretty much anywhere. RELWATCHERS. Real Watchers is in the film reel. You can find us on Instagram if you want to chat with us or shoot us a message. We post very often there. I'm pretty bad at it. Trying to be better at it, but I just not good. But I will read your messages if you send them to me. I promise. I do get notifications on that. And then on YouTube, if you're watching on the live stream, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell, like the video and everything. We go live every Tuesday with our movie news segment, which is this right now that you're viewing right now. If you're on Twitch, make sure to go ahead and give us that follow. Again, we go live every Tuesday. On YouTube, there's a bunch of additional content. So if you are on Twitch, head over there. There's the Real Watchers Movie Club that Garrett hosts with our other host, Kevin, where they review the IMDb Top 200 movie list and talk about it in detail, movie by movie. So make sure to check that out. Those come out every Friday. And then Garrett also does a ton of really good video essay stuff relating to film. The latest one just crossed, what's the threshold? I want to say it's another big one.
Yeah, so the 150 films that remind me why I love film just hit 4,200 views. Which is nuts. I feel like we're gaining 1,000 every week, which is like
we're going viral.
Nuts.
We're on the train. I mean, you see, look here. This is him, the next Charlie D'Amelio. Everyone.
I don't know who that is. Hopefully,
the number one TikTok. She was the first person to like really go viral.
Oh, there you go. Sure. I'm not too vibed about the TikTok part, but I will about the viral part. But speaking of Movie Club, we do have that coming up this week. We'll be covering the classic thriller Psycho. So make sure you tune in this week and check it out beforehand. It should be streaming on Max or a couple other places. And then next week, we got a really big one, which is going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But we have a couple of comments that came in the meantime. Kevin says Haunted Mansion was just okay on Disney Plus. Well, if it's just okay, that means it's better than the Eddie Murphy one. So I will take it, and maybe I'll put that on my list for this week too. Then Matt Wall says, when are we getting the new Star Wars movies? I feel like it's been 2 years since we heard anything. Well, we did hear we're getting 3 new movies back in May of this year, I believe, with Star Wars Celebration. We're supposed to be getting the Dawn of the Jedi film from the director of Logan, Ford v Ferrari, and Indiana Jones 5. And then we're going to be getting Dave Filoni's film, which we now know is called Heir to the Empire, which hopefully that comes out really soon because Ahsoka left off on not a good point to leave off on, and we need more answers. And then we are also getting a film that takes place after the sequel trilogy about Rey starting the new Jedi Order. So that one actually has some promise to it as well. Very excited for that. But no other word. I think Taika Waititi's Star Wars film is still in development, at least. And then Sean Levy, the director of Deadpool 3 and Deadpool 3, what was the movie with Free Guy? Done a lot of really good movies, actually. Supposedly has a Star Wars film in development too, and he's been saying it's been really liberating to do. So, hey, I've enjoyed all his movies so far. So hopefully he can make a good one. But hopefully that's enough. Hopefully we start getting some news about when they're coming out soon. But with the Writers and Actors Guild strikes, I'm sure it hasn't helped anything. So, but yeah. Any other comments, concerns, questions? Make sure you get them in. We love answering questions. Especially the hard ones, like what color is stupid?
It's a good one.
I'm gonna stick with Poos. I think Poos is just a great color for stupidity, at least. I will take that.
What happened to my Band of Brothers steel box? I must have put it away somewhere.
It's a great time to wonder where. Is it like an ammo tin or something, or is it like?
I mean, effectively, yeah. It's got like a ammo tin, and then it unfolds a bunch.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, no,
I mean, we don't really talk about hauls on this show too much, but last week, as a part of the trip, we also went to Amoeba Records, which if you go over to our friend Eddie's channel, Fans of Something, he should have a video on there soon about like a recap of the entire trip, and you will see some stuff from Amoeba Records. But I did have a couple things I picked up while I was there that were movie related. So I did pick up a sealed steelbook case for Perfect Blue, which I'm very excited for. It's in the collection. Currently packed up because I will be moving in 2 weeks. But then also picked up Quentin Tarantino's book called Cinema Speculation about the movies from the 70s that inspired him to become a filmmaker. So very excited to read that because it was in like near mint condition. It was like half the price of normal. So I was like, okay, I'll take it. So because I like to have a lot of books on film too. It's nice to see other people's perspective on what got them into it. Because like I know what movies gotten me into analyzing film. Like you have your movies that kind of got you more interested in film than anything else. So it's really cool to see what directors have to say about what got them excited about it. So Matt Walls did say, reason for the Star Wars question, I've been playing the Battlefront games. Awesome. The Battlefront games are great.
Super fun.
Yeah, so much fun. I'm glad that Battlefront 2 went through a giant renaissance. It's unfortunate that so many games have to go through a renaissance after they've come out, but Battlefront 2 was still a fantastic looking game. One of the best looking shooters, I think.
Easily, yeah.
And still a lot of fun to play too. So, and quite a few people still play it. I know on PC you can mod it, and people have made other heroes and stuff, which is really
cool.
So, yeah, well, it looks like that's about it for the comments. Things are kind of slowing down, so we'll go ahead and end for the night. Thank you so much for joining us again this week. But make sure we get that subscribers up to 100. And we got that glizzy eating competition. It could be next week. Yeah, at this rate, we're getting so many.
It's going to be literally like a 2-minute video because we're doing in a minute, so it's going to be super fast.
Yeah, and I'm thinking we have to do it at like the end of the show because that's like when the most people are typically on is towards the end. And I'd also don't want to have a stomach ache from eating glizzies.
I think it might need to be a separate little video, though. We may have to either clip it or just record it after, like an after show.
We can do that, too. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Matt Wall says bye. Have a good night, Matt Walls. Hopefully you have a fantastic rest of your evening. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. On to bigger and better things. We will see you next week. Same time, same place, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And until then, keep your eyes on the screen. Have a good one.